Welcome everybody to SJG Perspective, and I last minute hooked up a special guest to come on tonight. Say hello, Rational.
Hey, how you going, guys?
It's our favorite gentleman from down under. So he's gonna throw some shrimp on the barbie.
Mate, I'm gonna have to teach you to speak Aussie, 'cause that's terrible, dude.
I know it is. I haven't been practicing. What can I say? I haven't been practicing. Let me throw a light
the
on
the
here.
secret to speaking Aussie is you don't move your tongue, you don't move your lips, you don't move your jaw. You have to be as lazy as possible.
You just gonna talk like this, and when you say, now I'm just sounding like a like a
That,
paralyzed Mexican.
yeah, well, yeah, yeah. You have to just sound like you've had a stroke about midway through your second bottle of tequila, and you're speaking Aussie.
Oh, so how was your day today, man? What did you do? Anything spectacular?
No, not a hell of a lot. No, just doing a little bit of research and trying to work on putting together a new parody song, really, and just watching what's going on in the UK with Tommy Robinson.
I know, isn't that just mind blowing what they're doing to him over there? I haven't read anything today, but I've been trying to stay up on top of it the last couple days. What's happening today?
Well, I haven't seen anything today. I've just been looking at some of the things that have been going on, in the last sort of few days. Like, for example, in Oldham, where the police kindly escorted a large number of Pakistani Muslims to his
Yeah,
political rally so that they could throw rocks, bricks, and scissors at women and children,
yeah, I saw that.
because the government in the United Kingdom is angry at the fact that Tommy Robinson exposed how they covered up for decades all of the grooming gang activity that was taking place by Pakistani Muslims. I honestly think and have been saying to people that the UK government is no longer legitimate.
Yeah,
I don't see how any person anywhere in the world can now think that the government in the United Kingdom is legitimate. They are actively working against their own people
mm-hmm.
on behalf of a particular non-English
Ideology.
group of people, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, no.
And it is absolutely reprehensible. I'd like condemn them in the strongest possible terms for what they're doing. It is, it's gone beyond Orwellian. It is despicable what's
Right.
happening there now.
Well, and see, it's like Tommy Robinson got the milkshake, and then what Burger King's doing with the whole milkshake campaign and whatnot, right?
Yep,
And then so Nigel Farage got a milkshake thrown in his face, and
yep.
that guy gets arrested, right? That guy gets arrested and charges pressed, and the dude who threw it in the face of Tommy didn't get anything. Nothing even happened to him at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, pretty much they didn't really get anything apart from a media interview and a little bit of cash and
Right.
a bit of fame. And the media actually lied on his behalf, because if you go and actually have a look at the background footage that other people have put online,
Mm-hmm.
um, the Pakistani guy who rammed the milkshake into Tommy Robinson's face was actually hysterically going off and trying to get at Tommy Robinson earlier.
Yeah.
But the media portrayed it as though he was just this poor, hapless
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
victim of Tommy Robinson's violence. That is not what happened at all. Tommy Robinson went up to him because he had been pushing women and trying to barge through and get at Tommy Robinson. So Tommy went to him to have a reasonable and rational discussion.
Right.
And this guy just seemed not to be capable of doing that, and he had to resort to violence. And then the usual suspects in the media um, decided to make a hero of this guy. But even more disgustingly, the police in the United Kingdom liked a piece of footage of the attack that had been put online. I think it was on a Facebook post or something like that. So the footage of Tommy being attacked was put online, and the police liked it. They liked the attack. That is
I
beyond
know.
despicable.
No, and the lies that are being told about him, anybody in the drive in just your that hears about Tommy Robinson and doesn't really know the history or know really what he stands for, what he believes in, he is completely spun as this total terrible racist,
Yep.
and he couldn't be farther from a racist. He's simply standing up for the and pointing out the terrible atrocities that are happening in the Muslim communities there, that are getting completely, like you talked about. I mean, completely brushed under the rug, completely not, I won't say they're not getting prosecuted because there has been rape, some of the rape gangs that have been prosecuted and so on and so forth. But I mean, how can you not prosecute a rape gang when they've done it? I mean, that would be a little bit too blatant of sympathizing with them. But
Yeah,
um,
well, the reality is, though, of course, that they didn't. They allowed it to go on for 20 years.
yeah,
And Tommy Robinson was one of the first people to start to speak about it. And you have a look at just the history of the government's reaction to
yeah.
that, looking for fake charges to take him out on. They went and investigated his parents, they investigated his sister, his uncles, everybody
Mm-hmm.
that was related to Tommy Robinson, trying to find anything that they could use to shut him up.
So why is this coming down from the upper? I mean the upper echelons of the government that just that why is he so? I mean, is it just coming down from upper ends all the way down into the police to say hate Tommy Robbins? Because I can't imagine all the cops see it. The cops got to know what's going on. They got to they can't be sympathizing uh, for the majority of them. They couldn't be sympathizing with the Muslim, this Muslim violence and stuff that's taken over in the UK. Do you agree, or I mean, where's it coming from?
Well, I think it has to be coming from the top down. I
Yeah.
don't think that this kind of thing, but like the media knew about it and they did nothing about it. There's a guy who was in the media, and he finally decided, after a few years of Tommy Robinson, Jada Franson, Paul Golding, and others who had been speaking out against the Islamic grooming gangs, he heard about this group of Muslims who had been charged with. Oh, so he heard about a group from a grooming gang who had been charged, and he pulled over his car and he stopped to listen, and he said, if this is another group of people with names like Muhammad, I'm going to have to speak about this, because he had known about it for years. Other people had known about it for years, and nothing had been done. And this was about the second or third time that a group of people had been caught. And so the reality is that it was known. This was one of the worst kept secrets in Britain.
Wow.
You have a look at the history of it. Parents were getting arrested for trying to stop their children from being attacked by the grooming gangs. The police refused to get involved. They would go into places where the Islamic grooming gangs were, and they arrested parents of children who were naked, who were drunk, who were drugged, in a room with a large number of Islamic men, and they would arrest the parents who were trying to get their children back from those situations. This is something that is unbelievable. I'm just so glad that I don't live in the United Kingdom.
So wait a minute here. So you're saying this has been happening then for years there.
Yep,
Have
yep.
you been following these stories and whatnot since you're over in that part?
Um, I started following this probably. Oh, gee, I don't know. It's really hard to know. I mean, so much stuff happens, but it's probably been the last couple of years, I think, that I've been
Mm-hmm.
aware of it and looking into it and discussing this stuff. And some of the stories that you hear are absolutely horrific. Some of the things that came out in the court cases, like a girl who was 11 or 12 who had her tongue nailed to a table while
What?
she was being repeatedly abused by men. She had petrol poured over her and was threatened with being set on alight if she went and told anyone about it. And the police refused to do anything. Counsellors, social workers, local government, they all knew what was going on. None of them did anything about it. It is horrific when you actually look into the detail of it. It
What is the purpose from these? I mean, why do these? What's the thought process behind these gangs that are doing these to these kids and to these people? I mean, what is it like to breed out the European, or what is it?
No, I don't think it's the old prima nocta being used against the British here. If you look at what Islam has to say about non-Muslims, you will get some insight into why this is happening. According to Islamic sources, Muslim men will be given 70 of the quote female inhabitants of hell to spend eternity raping. Um, so for them, and the Quran, verse 424 of the Quran and others endorse the raping of non-Muslim women. So that's why this kind of stuff is
Now, what? How would a
able
Muslim?
to happen.
How? Um, it says, can you boost your sound, SJG? Color is good. You are quiet. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I will do that. Mic boosted up here, and check one, check two, check one, check two. There. That's probably a little better.
You're much louder now.
Okay, good. You can hear me better. Okay.
I could hear you fine. I'm
Check.
just directly through a headphone line, so I can hear you fine.
Yeah. Okay. Is that better? F loves America. Effie loves America. I think that's probably good because I can see where my levels are at. Um, so I forgot what I was going to say right then. But I mean, when you talk about these verses that are in the Quran, I mean, is that what would a mainstream Muslim say that isn't verses that are they don't like? For instance, for a Christian, where it talks about how, there's in the Old Testament where it talked about, all the Levitical law or something like that, where it
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
about, you don't lie with a woman who's on her period, or, all these crazy, I mean, or you stone, yeah, I'm
yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
was
I
the first
understand.
thing that popped into my mind. I don't,
Yeah, yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I'm
I
saying.
understand. I understand what you're saying. Yes. So
So, I mean, is that
so
something, because, go ahead.
why aren't all Muslim people engaging in these kinds of activities? Um, look, I mean, there's different groups within Islam. So the kinds of people that are doing this stuff sort of fit more into that Wahhabi Salafi form of Islam, which is um, the Saudi Arabian backed and trained and taught Islamic ideology. So it's only really that one form of Islam that is being used for this. Like a lot of other people will read the text as being, say, metaphorical or being, related to a particular point in time, or no longer being applicable to now.
Right.
So there are like you have that, like the Hanafi school, I think it is, and there's the Ahmadiyya or whatever they're called. I should remember the names, but can't think of them off the top of my
Mm-hmm.
head. But they read the texts in ways that are spiritual rather than literal, or they read this stuff as being metaphor, or they read it as being dependent on the time at which they were written, so that they're no longer
Right.
applicable now. So that's why you have, that's why you don't have every Muslim out there thinking that this is the way to go. Because I mean, as you would know from reading, the Bible or any other text, you can there's a variety of different meanings
Right.
that you
Right.
can extract from the same text.
Right. So, so yeah, I mean that's where I'm kind of curious on some of the stuff where it's like, are they trying to say that it's? I mean, I guess I'm just curious how many of these guys actually believe that this stuff is okay, or they're justified because of what the Quran or the Hadith may say about these kind of things. I mean, how mainstream in thought is that? I guess is my question. Is like, is it
Well,
way more mainstream than they care to admit?
oh, yes, absolutely. According to intelligence sources from people that I give credibility when they discuss these issues, intelligence sources tend to suggest that about 15 to 25% of the Islamic population believes in at least some degree of Sharia law as contained in the Sunni Hadith. So that's up to 450 million people.
Wow. Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, that
And
is
I think, and to come back to your earlier point about why the UK government might allow this kind of stuff, I actually think that they are fearful of the reality of what they have done. I think they believe they've opened Pandora's box, and to switch metaphors here, they can't put that genie back in the bottle.
right.
I
Wow.
honestly think that that's got a lot to do with it. I mean, it gets to a point where you have to start looking for valid reasons for why this would have been allowed to go on for a long period of time. And you can't assume that there was nefarious intent on behalf of all of the people in the government and the police and the politicians and the councils and social workers and all that kind of stuff. So if it's not motivated by malice,
Right.
what is the other most likely thing that motivated it? And you think, well, fear is a possibility.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Well, I'm not in the heads of these people, and because I'm not in the United Kingdom, I don't have the entire perspective of it. I just know what we've seen, and I know from what we've seen here in Australia, where people want to go into Islamic areas and discuss Islamic issues, and the police
Tell
have
them they can't.
stopped them from doing it. And the reason is because they fear that there will be some ramification
Yeah.
from that. So fear does seem like a likely thing, but that, to me, fear is not enough. You protect children at all costs. That's my
Yeah.
theory on these things. And if you've created a monster, you deal with the monster now, because that monster is only growing.
Right.
It's not getting smaller.
Right. Right. No, it blows me away, man. What we're dealing with when it comes to this, it's I mean, and they're trying to bring this kind of uh, it's I don't want to say caliphate, but I mean it's because it's kind of different. But they're trying to bring this fully to America too, and I mean with the Muslim Brotherhood,
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah, have you read that memorandum, the Muslim Brotherhood memorandum that was intercepted by US intelligence agencies?
Yeah, that was years ago, right? Or that was a while
Yeah,
ago.
yeah, yeah, where they
Yeah,
just outright state their aim.
yeah, right. And that's like the five pillars or whatever. I don't know if that's the right and but where they talk about how they want to slowly integrate into and step by the five steps or
Yeah,
whatever it was. Yeah,
yeah, I can't remember it exactly, but yes, that is the thing. So they have a very long range plan
yeah,
to take over institutions, to affect public perception, and you see that with a group like CARE, which is obviously linked
right,
to a variety of unsavoury groups, but
right.
they are an organisation that's also been involved with US politicians. I think Barack Obama and them were far too snugly,
Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
from my understanding of this. Um, they should never have been allowed to have any say over any form of government regulation. And I think CARE was instrumental in having a lot of the experts on
Yeah,
Arabic and Islamic religious texts removed from courses that were being run to train people in US intelligence. They're one of those people taken out because they could actually say the kinds of stuff that I say. Look, one of the
right,
things that I've sort of said to people for years, if the US intelligence agencies had come to me to ask my advice on what they should have been doing before they went into Iraq to take out Saddam Hussein, they never
right,
would have done it. It was obvious that Saddam Hussein was never linked to
right,
Osama bin Laden. They were enemies.
right.
You know,
That was a beef that old Bush had with from his daddy's time, and the kid
Yeah, yeah,
wanted. That's all
unfinished business. But he
unfinished
should never
business.
have been. He should never have been taken out. It
No,
was a bad move. The US should never have worked with the Mujahideen in Afghanistan.
or
But I
take
can kind of
or Libya, or what we did in Libya, or what we've done in
yes,
Syria. I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
what we were trying to do in Syria until Russia stopped us.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That was a, that was going to be just another disaster in the
Well,
making. I mean, we've already seen the Islamic slave trade is back out in the open
yeah,
now
yeah, yeah,
because of the destabilization in that region. So that form of Islam, that traditional form of Islam, is now much more out in the open in those areas because there was a power vacuum created that Islam, in all of its glory,
right,
could sort of manifest in. And
yeah.
we have created, I think, a bit of a beast, a bit of a problem.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because General Wesley Clark was the general that had that NPR interview back in 2006. I think it was 2007, maybe, where he talked about after 9/11. He walked into the Pentagon and he was talking to one of the. I'm paraphrasing this, but it's you can look up the video online. But basically, he walks in and he's talking to one of the commanders there that he used to, be, was a colleague of his, and he said, and this is shortly, and he talks about this happening like I don't know, maybe a few weeks after 9/11 had happened. Maybe it was a few months after 9/11, but shortly after 9/11 happened, he says he walks into the Pentagon and this guy says, "Hey, did you, General, come here? I want to tell you something." He goes, "Did you see this latest memo that came down from upstream?" And basically, the memo said that they were going to take out 7 countries in the next 7 years, I believe it was, or 10 years, and their timeline got a little screwed up, but basically they said they were going to take out Libya, they were going to take out Iran, or they were going to take out Libya, they were going to go into Africa, they were going to take out Syria, they were going to go, I can't remember all of the places, and they were going to end it with Iran. So it was basically 7 countries they were going to go into, and he was like, the General Wesley Clark was like, well, why are we going to do this? They didn't have anything to do with this 9/11, and he's like, well, I don't know, but I guess it's basically if the only tool you have is a hammer, then everything has to look like a nail, and
Yeah,
and I know it has to do with the imperialistic hegemony of the deep state and the military industrial complex here in America. And I won't even
Yep.
partisanly put it on a president. It's nonpartisan. It runs deep, but we have the desire to rule the world in a lot of ways, and it all surrounds, or there's always that element of oil and of just exerting power over these countries that we want to exert power over. And that's where I'm so well, not really. I was going to say I diverge so much from conservatives because in the past conservatives were like more like they supported war a lot of times, and we support the
Yep.
military, which means we support war. And my whole thing is I support the military, and by supporting the military, I don't support us getting into stupid wars for no point, because that isn't supporting the military. That's putting our children and our boys and our women and our citizens in harm's way for what? For what? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I believe that if you are being directly threatened by another country, then you use all diplomatic measures possible to relieve that threat, right? And
Yep.
when that doesn't work, then you go in quick and you go in hard and you just end it. You wipe them off. This is going to sound cold, but in a scenario where you're being threatened and your only resort is then to use military force, then use it to the full extent of your ability and just end it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And then get out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the Machiavellian approach, and I agree with that. You should tread lightly, I think, but carry a massive stick.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you do, you do all that you can to avoid the use of force. But if you do need to use force, you use it in such a way that all of your enemies will look and go, "Holy crap! I don't want to be on the
Yeah.
receiving end of that punishment."
Yeah. Exactly.
And you're not doing it to be a bully.
No,
You're doing it. It's like
you're doing it to save lives ultimately.
exactly. You're doing it to end conflict. There are ways that you can end conflict. One of them is to show. As Donald Trump was quite happy to say um, to little Kim a while ago.
Yeah.
I have a bigger button and it works.
Yeah.
But that kind of thing is reasonable, because what he was saying, not just to Kim, but also to the Chinese, is if he does something, we will completely and utterly annihilate them, and nothing will stand in our way. And he was saying that to the Chinese and the Russians. We
Yeah.
will absolutely obliterate you if you don't pull this man into line. I don't have a problem with that. Where I do have the problem is where the United States has got themselves into these never-ending wars, and they've dragged
Mm-hmm.
the West into those wars. I'm an absolute non-interventionist.
Yes, I am
Well,
too.
I shouldn't say an absolute non-interventionist, but I am a majority non-interventionist. You only intervene if you absolutely need to,
Right.
and then it's brutal and it's quick, and
And
you get out, and you allow the opportunity for mercy. Like we saw that work
yes,
well with
right.
Japan. We were able to reconstruct Japan
Right.
after World War II, and turn them into a really strong ally.
Right.
I'm not sure that we can yet do that with the Islamic world. I think that they need a
No.
reformation
Yeah,
in the
there's no,
Islamic
you
world. I think
can't
Saudi Arabia
you
need a
can't
reformation.
yeah,
And
there that has to start from within, because there's no change in them. There's no bombing them into oblivion, because they'll just scatter like cockroaches, and people,
Yep.
oh, you're calling them cockroaches. No, I'm just saying, as you turn on the light, the cockroaches scatter. If you did that, if you
Yep.
just bomb the shit out of something, well, we already have, and look what it's done. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
and they're everywhere, so it's not like you can hit every place in the world, right? And so no, that's not the answer with them. The answer with them, I think, is to I honestly at
Well,
this point. And here's the other thing, and then all of our wars have contributed greatly to these immigration crises that we've had, and
yep.
this disbursement and this blowback that we've
Yep.
gotten. So I mean, it's the ramifications of what we've done are far-reaching, more than just the people we've killed there, or the buildings and the stuff we've blown up with our drone strikes there. It's so much far. It's just such a terrible strategy. It makes you wonder, why did we implement this strategy? Is it because we wanted to they wanted to implement total chaos in the world so that they could unite it under a global force? I mean, it makes you wonder. Oh, we even have look in the chat, we even actually now have
Hello,
a
snack bar.
oh yeah, Muhammad Allah snack bar is in, so maybe he might have some insights too on this
I
movement.
think in defense of the United States, there probably was a legitimate failure to understand the Islamic world to some
Right.
degree, and that's a bit of a failing of intelligence, I think.
Yeah.
Look, I honestly don't think that Ronald Reagan, when he supported the Mujahideen, believed that that was going to blow back, as they call it, into Al Qaeda and the Taliban and become what it became.
Yeah, but it
Um,
was either way, it was a very short-sighted, selfish maneuver. I mean, I'm a supporter of Ronald Reagan for the most part. But
yeah, me too.
that was short-sighted in the sense. But see, that's what makes me. They're not that dumb. We are not this most powerful nation in the world, and especially at that time having the level of intelligence and so on and so forth that we had, and not be able to think 10 steps down the road how this might end out. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't know. I feel like the powers
Yeah,
that be underneath knew some of this was going to happen, and they
yeah,
were
I
okay with it.
disagree a little bit on that, and the reason why I disagree on that is because I think human nature says that if you're a very big, very powerful nation like the United States, you can very easily overlook things that a smaller nation or a less powerful nation would not overlook. So I honestly do think that there was just a legitimate misunderstanding because the Americans at that time did not see the Islamic world as any kind of a threat to American hegemony.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually I do think that I could be wrong, but I do think that that is a legitimate possibility
Yeah.
as to what happened, and an understandable possibility. I mean, the Islamic world did not look like a threat at that time.
Right. No, you could be right. I mean, or there was even just like we'll worry about it later. Yeah, they didn't. They underestimated it and said, yeah, there could be some, extra, extra ramifications to this, but we'll worry about it. They were so focused on just making sure that, um, uh, they were just so focused on making sure the I lost my train of thought that the Russians were defeated that they say, hey, we'll worry about it later.
Yeah, there is that too, of course. The big threat in inverted commas to freedom and the West and everything then was the Russians. And
Yeah,
even that was probably overstated to some degree.
yeah.
I'm not really sure that the Russians were really looking to be an expansionist empire in a
Mm-hmm.
significant way.
Yeah,
But look, it's easy to sit back in hindsight and say that all of these things that shouldn't have been done. The reality is that it's been done, and we now have to deal with the fallout
mm-hmm.
of what's happened.
Yeah,
So the why to some degree probably doesn't really matter. I mean, I think it'd be good to look at so we don't make those mistakes again if they were mistakes, or we can analyze exactly why it is that the military-industrial complex feels the need to be constantly involving the US in war.
right.
Um, I think that's a legitimate issue to investigate
Yeah,
because
no.
um, I do have my suspicions that there are far too many hawks
Yeah,
involved in US politics and have been for quite a long time.
yeah. I will 1 second here. I want to add. Well, you can talk for a second here. I wanted to see how I can add moderators. I was thinking about making Mohammed one of our moderators. I just don't know how to quickly do it, but that would be classic.
So
Um,
Altoid Sweet, no, I don't think there's any racists
no,
here.
yeah,
I mean,
no.
we're discussing Islam, and Islam, to the best of my knowledge, Islam is not a race. I've seen
Right,
white Muslims and I've seen black ones and brown ones and
right,
pretty much all kinds of ones except for blue-haired ones. I mean, actually, I have seen blue-haired ones wearing the pink pussy hats in the US, but but any race can be a Muslim. And I think getting back to an earlier issue that you raised about how we deal with the Islamic issue, I think one of the key strategies that we're not using is on ideological grounds.
right,
We need to be fighting. Like, Islam is an idea, and there are lots of elements of that idea that are bad, and we need to be actually challenging the ideology of Islam. And that doesn't involve weapons, that involves words. And contrary to what the left will tell you, words are not violent.
right.
And I think we need to be
Well,
fighting Islam on the battleground of ideas. You see, there are people who do it. You have David Wood and is it Robert Spencer? I think who runs a major website that it's just eluding me for Jihad Watch.
Right.
And these guys are battling Islam in the realm of ideas, and I think that should be our primary focus for this battle, because it is a battle of ideas, and you don't beat an idea with a gun. You
Right.
beat an idea with words,
Right.
with rational argumentation. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, we're stopped from doing that. Social media, for example, doesn't really like people critiquing this idea, but it needs to be critiqued, and it needs to be critiqued because a lot of the people who are suffering under this rancid form of Islam are Muslims. They're the ones who are affected by it the most. And I actually do care about Islamic people. I care about the women in Saudi Arabia and Iran who want to be free. And I care about the women in Pakistan and places like that want freedom. And I care about the kids in the madrasas who are being brutally beaten to try to make them into this image that the Wahhabi Salafi Muslim wants.
Right.
We need to be fighting that idea. That is the only way that you're going to beat it.
No, I know.
From my perspective.
And hang on one second. I'm making a comment here. I guess I have a microphone. Why am I making a comment, right?
Yeah. Why are you typing, man?
I have
Use your words.
I have the bully pulpit in some ways. Too bad Christiane wasn't in here. I mean, I know two people can't be in the same place at the same time. Well, you can with the internet, but it almost feels like it almost feels like this Altoid suite is almost a Christiane alter ego. It's what I almost feel like,
Yeah,
but
I suspect she's linked.
yeah, I almost feel like that
way.
could be it, because there's no, Altoid suite. Yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong. Who knows? But yeah, no, it's so interesting, and it's so amazing to me. Just how you can't speak out, how they're Islam is so protected. It's so crazy, but it's so it's so protected, and it's so intertwined in the intersectionality that you can't speak against it. You can't speak against it, otherwise you are just so shamed.
Yeah, and it's the craziness of it. It's the absolute bovinity of people on the left. Islam is this protected minority. There's like 1.7 billion of them. They are the third largest demographic of people on the planet.
Right.
That's not my understanding of a minority.
Yeah. No.
A quarter of the world's population is Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Not really a minority.
Yeah.
It's a bloody big minority.
So did you hear what, switching gears for a second here, but did you hear what Jeff Daniels said? That Jeff Daniels do you know Jeff Daniels, the actor?
Right? Yes. Yeah. About the election of Donald Trump being inherently and fundamentally a racist.
Yeah.
Thing.
So basically he said here in this article, he goes, Jeff Daniels compares Trump supporters to the KKK, claims democracy will end if Trump is reelected. I don't know what he means by democracy will end. Let's read the article. Actor Jeff...
I think it means the left will lose. That's usually what they mean. When they say democracy will end, it means the left will lose.
Yeah, it could be.
Through the Orwellian doublespeak.
I'm almost wondering, though, if he means like they'll just be like a total uprising. When I first read it, I'm like, so what does that mean? That, there will be an uprising from the left? I mean, that is something I'm already kind of, I think is coming, like I just don't see how they're going to handle it. If, not really if he wins again, when he wins again, how they're going to handle that.
Yeah, I think there's going to be armies out there with soy milkshakes just running amok and attacking everyone that they possibly can.
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't downplay the threat. There are some lunatics on the left. But
Christiane. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but somebody just burned Christiane and said Krusty Ann. And it's just so funny because I'm having such a hard time believing Altoid Suite's a real troll. And since we only got 9 people in here, I'm just laughing because I think I'm getting played again, but I'm just going to have fun with it. Altoid Suite, you're hilarious. Oh man, going after Christiane, that's not cool. Christiane's one of our chosen and our beloved. You don't go after Muhammad. Out there, we are no friends. We are. Oh, Muhammad Allah snack bar, you crack me up. Okay, so let me read this here real quick, and then you can jump in on some thoughts here. It says actor Jeff Daniels painted supporters of President Donald Trump and a wing of the Republican Party as racist, KKK comparison included. On Monday, during an appearance on a far left network, MSNBC, he also warned that the re-election of President Trump would be the end of democracy. What a turd, man. That's so hilarious. Daniels, who was starring in Broadway's current production of To Kill a Mockingbird, compared Trump's rallies to a line from the play, "A mob is a place where people go to take a break from their conscience." So that is really, I'm glad he's so smart and he has all these really, memorized lines from his play, but doesn't that apply to the far left far more than it applies to anybody on the right? That a mob is
Of course.
a place where people go to take a break from their conscience?
Yeah, they are
Oh,
masters of they're the masters of projection. I mean, you almost know whatever the left says is whatever they accuse their opponents of is what they are actually doing. That they are guilty of the things that they accuse others of being guilty of, and the ones that they accuse are almost always innocent.
right.
Now, there are exceptions, obviously. I mean, there are some wingnuts out there who are, white supremacists and stuff like that, but I've never met one. It's
Yes.
not like there's a lot of them around.
No. He says, that's what I see when I look at Donald Trump's rallies. That's when I see the lies he's spewing at these people and, and people going, I got to believe in something. And he said he'd bring my manufacturing job back, and he didn't. But at the end of the day, it's a race. It's a race, the actor claimed, according to the Deadline. I don't even, how does that even, that paragraph didn't even make sense. Daniels then broadened it to a wing of the Republican Party. This is about the Republican Party, or a wing of it, going, "This is our last chance to save the party, and if we don't, it's the end of the Republican Party." What is he talking about? The Republican Party is gaining more strength than it ever has before. They're, blue states are turning red. I mean, what's he?
It seems like the black community has. I think
Yeah,
I saw a report the other day that something like over 30% of black people support what Donald Trump is doing. Like that, I've never heard of the Republicans having that kind of support in the black community.
yeah.
It's usually down around about 10%, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
From
it's
what I understand. So,
yeah, and like the whole the Blexit movement with like Candace Owens
yep.
and a few others. No, I mean it's like gaining steam. I mean this is all just such when Daniels goes on and says this in MSNBC, they're just, again, it's propaganda trying to control the narrative, because he has gained, the Republican Party and the conservatives are gaining power right now with all this nonsense that's getting amplified with all the social justice, intersectionality, cultural Marxism, privilege talk that's going on and getting pushed everywhere. It's really not gaining steam. I think it's starting to burn out because people are realizing it's so ridiculous. I mean, like on the whole Snapchat thing, like that's just one little symptom of that video I did yesterday of how, the trans community is offended at Snapchat for having a filter that makes you look like a boy or a girl, a gender swap. It's like, that is,
Yeah.
people are burning out on that. You know what I mean? In my
Yes. Yeah.
opinion, they are seeing
Yeah.
that, they're seeing it for what it is and how ridiculous it is. And I think it's going to
And it
end up
takes a lot
hurting
of
them.
energy.
What?
It takes a lot of energy to be enraged for a prolonged period of time, and eventually
Mm-hmm.
you're just going to get worn out. And when you realise that, you've got Chicken Little running around saying the end is nigh with every little thing that happens, and the world just keeps on
Mm-hmm.
going
Yeah.
along pretty much the same as always, eventually, people start waking up. I think the reality is that the Democrats are so hysterical and the left is so hysterical that people are just getting red pilled just by them. They don't need us
Yeah.
to intervene and to point out reality, because just people can just see
Mm-hmm.
the insanity of these people. They don't need us pointing it out because it's so obvious now.
Yeah. No, it does my heart good. But I keep pointing out these videos because they're fun just to laugh at and make fun of. But
Yeah.
it's like it does my heart well. And like the whole pushing of Trump to be impeached still by, some people still circling the wagons with that one. That's
Yeah.
just going to ultimately help him get reelected. I mean, I hope they keep pushing that. I hope they keep pushing the narrative and they don't listen, because it's just going to end up, biting them in the ass. And then this whole electoral college thing where all the I don't know, 13 states or something like that have signed on to say that they're only going to give their electoral college votes to whoever wins the popular vote here in America. It's
Yeah,
their
and aren't there states that have legislated to keep Donald Trump even off the ballot?
Yes, California was trying to do that. Here's an
Yeah.
interesting factoid that nobody, next time, all the patriots listening right now, even you, Altoid Sweet or Altoid Smell, whatever, even you, when the next time somebody says to you that Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, um, remind them that she won 400 counties and Donald Trump won, I think, 2,000 or 2,500 counties nationwide. 2,500 counties nationwide. I mean, it's not hard to win the popular vote when you have a whole bunch of just retarded people living in the the major urban areas. I mean, you take New York and California and a couple other larger states, and you can get they're going to all vote. They're going to all vote Democratic. What about the whole middle of the country that wants a voice and wants to be heard or wants to have a say in the election? We just say that now the major metropolitan areas, the Seattles, the Portlands, the Californias, or I should say the states, but the New York and D.C. and all these really libtarded vicinities are going to make the call for the whole United States. But I thought that was an interesting piece of information. How they said I just heard today it was like 2,000 or 3,000 counties Donald Trump won, and 400 counties Hillary Clinton won. 400 counties, and
If you took, I think if you took out the cities where it seems to be acceptable now to take a dump on the streets, and just ignored their vote for a little while because clearly those people are insane, Donald Trump probably won by a massive, massive landslide, no matter what metric you choose to use. I think that's another way of looking at it. The places, the cities where people think that pooing on the street is a good thing, they overwhelmingly voted for Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
So I'm not really sure that that's a rousing endorsement of Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Is it?
No.
I mean, I could be wrong. Well, I'm not in America, but there do seem to be cities where crapping on the streets tends to be a problem, and they seem to be democratic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're totally right. Man, the chat was getting out of control. We lost somebody. Hey, Forbidden, if you haven't left yet, some of these trolls are just messing around, so and having fun, and you probably know a couple of them, and they're alter egos. So don't leave. Altoid is the only one who's being a turd, so we can just let Altoid do what she wants to do, or he, or she, or Z, or Zer, or whatever.
I can put him on timeout. I am actually a.
Oh yeah, why don't you put Altoid on timeout? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and just see if Forbidden hasn't left yet. Forbidden, yeah, cool, you're here. We're gonna put Altoid on a timeout because we don't want to lose the good people. And I got my moderator in here. I forgot. I love you, Forbidden Information. Oh, now she's trying to be nice. I love you, Forbidden Information. Oh, that's because he said he was gonna leave. Oh, that's funny. Going to listen.
Okay, so that should be done now.
Yeah. Altoid was putting a timeout. I really still think that's an alter ego. I don't really think it is an actual troll, but who knows? I know. Okay, so Mohammed Ola. I don't know. Should we let Mohammed be a moderator? What do you think about that, Rational? Could that end badly?
No, nothing could possibly go wrong with having Mohammed Allahu Snapbar as a
Let me
as a moderator.
manage moderators here. Let me see if I can add someone. Paste a new moderator's channel to the URL. So let me do that. That would kind of be funny to have him as a. How do I paste his copy? Right there. Hang on a second. There's too many. I get it now. I get it. Go to channel, report user, hide, add to moderator. Oh, that was easy enough. Okay, so I just made Mohammed. Mohammed's got a wrench. Oh no, that could be scary. He is a mod. You should. He is a mod for me. Okay, Mohammed, you have now reached what's heaven for the
Paradise.
What's that?
Paradise, is it called?
Paradise, yes. You've reached paradise. La la la, boom. Anyway, I don't know. That Jeff Daniels article didn't turn out to be as fun to commentate on as I thought it might be. I'm gonna move on.
I saw a little bit of a film clip. I think it might have been Mark Dice maybe who was discussing it. And
sorry about that.
I think Hollywood is just off its chops, aren't they? Really, there's no sanity left in Hollywood anymore.
I have to screw up in my transitions at least one time a stream, otherwise I'm doing something wrong. Oh man. Legal argument for Louisiana could have huge ramifications for abortion lawsuits. No, that doesn't sound interesting to me right now either. Trying to find a good article to read. I know I always say I'm going to be a little more prepared on these streams about what I'm going to talk about. Oh, this one's going to be hilarious. This one will be funny. But I got to jump in and do them because I just sometimes don't have the time lately to prepare. So I'm just jumping in and just going for it. But here is one that, let's see, is that going to pull over the right one? Oh, there I am again. How you doing? That's a good looking dude ski right there. Okay, here we go. There we go. So this one says Liz Warren and occasionally Cortex scold Game of Thrones finale for not serving their identity politics preferences. Oh my God. This is so funny to me, man. These two are just, oh,
They're
man.
parodies, aren't they?
They
parodies
are
of rational people.
I know. I wish I wish I had yours. I need your parody right now, downloaded and uploaded to put on here. But it says Senator Elizabeth Warren joined Representative AOC in a video critique of the finale of the popular fantasy show Game of Thrones, and they concluded it just wasn't feminist enough. All of this season of Game of Thrones, whoever's been watching it, all it's been about is social justice. You don't watch TV, do you? You don't watch Game of Thrones, right?
No, I have not seen 1 minute of Game of Thrones. I know
That's
nothing
weird
about
to
it.
me. You're kind of weird, Rational. I'm not gonna
Cheers,
lie.
mate.
But this last
Take
season
that as a
is
compliment.
this last season has been nothing but one big social justice warrior, promotion. Everything they talk about, it's just ridiculous, right? Please check tube of chat. YouTube. Don't
Muhammad
pick up.
Ali Allah snack bar has lost the ability to speak English now.
Yeah, I know. He's like, hello, perspective of SJG.
Speaking-
Please check tube of your chat. The what are you? You're really throwing me off my game here, Mohammed. Let me see here. I don't know what you're. I'm not worried about it right now. I'm talking. Mohammed, please. Can you pray to Allah or something? Because you are kind of being rude right now, man. Oh, anyway, we're losing some people here. All right, so it says the final popular fantasy show, Game of Thrones, they concluded it just wasn't feminist enough. I feel like we're getting so close to having this ending with just women running the world, Ocasio-Cortez said. She added that the writers decided that a strong female character would be too emotional to lead and complained, it's like, this was written by men. Warren, a presidential candidate, agreed and went on to offer other potential outcomes to the show that would have ended with women in power that she would have preferred. I was disappointed. So they're disappointed because a woman didn't end in power, not because this last season of Game of Thrones sucked. It just was a terrible season. They literally the fans of Game of Thrones literally took up a petition to have them redo the whole season 8 because it sucked so bad, because the first seasons were just epic and awesome. And this last season sucked so bad that they actually took up a petition to have people redo the whole season. And these two little queef farts, man, are upset because they didn't have enough feminism in it. Oh my goodness. That is just ridiculous. Yeah, I said queef farts.
It's an irony that it was full of feminism, yet it still sucked.
Yeah, I know. Oh, yeah. It was because it didn't end the way they wanted. Warren and I was disappointed. They need to. Okay, so she says, they need some help on this, agreed Warren. They do. They really do, laughed AOC. Many fans of the mega hit fantasy show that aired for 8 years registered disappointments in the ending, but few did so because of the lack of feminist agenda in the show. One website offered a specialized Game of Thrones counseling service in order to help distressed fans of the show deal with the disappointment of the finale. Actors from the show, on the other hand, were very dismissive of fans with complaints about the finale. Oh my gosh, it was just so terrible. I wish you could hear this, but I'm going to do this for the group. You won't be able to hear it, so I'm going to play this real quick.
I did. I'm sad. I'm disappointed about it.
I was just really meh.
You can't hear that,
I
can you?
feel like
No.
we were getting so close to having this ending with just women running the world.
Exactly.
And then
one
the
goes
last
crazy
two
and
episodes,
right.
it's like, oh, they're too emotional.
Yeah, exactly. Can't
Yeah,
And-
they are too emotional, you turd.
So
Just like
I
you.
was even willing at the end to make a quick allegiance shift when
Oh.
Danny went nuts.
Right, right.
So I was over to Sansa. I was
Yeah.
like Team
Yes.
Sansa. I will redo my shirts,
Totally.
the whole thing.
Jeez.
And yet Sansa,
God, I can't stand these women. They just bug the crap out of me.
Right, right.
she walks away saying, and I'll still be Queen of the North.
I know.
Oh,
Come on, Sansa, go for the big one.
I was disappointed. We need to get some feminist analysis up in HBO.
oh my God. She just said they need to get some feminist analysis up in HBO. It is just absolutely silliness to me, man. Oh,
you know
crap.
that your life is really, really difficult and filled
Yeah.
with real issues.
When
The end of a TV show requires counselling because it wasn't feminist enough.
I know. It is just
And-
so silly to me.
Like the women in Iran who have been put in jail for years for taking their hijab off in public. They are
Yeah.
truly blessed people because they are living without oppression.
Right.
You know, it is the people in the US who've had to volunteer to watch a TV show that really need to be assisted with the deep trauma of an oppressive
Yeah.
society not giving them the ending to a TV show they wanted.
Yeah,
And
right.
It's just insane.
Oh, it is. It is. Hey guys, we've been streaming for over an hour. It was last minute.
Really?
Yep. Well, probably 20 minutes. It's probably been 40, 45 minutes we've been streaming. I have to go in. I got to get up really early in the morning, but this was last minute with Rational. Chrissy Ann, you guys, everyone in here knows Chrissy Ann. So 1 second, just one quick second here. Talk for a second, Rational.
I can't share it, but go ahead, share it. Recommend this channel to everyone,
Okay.
and I'll see you next time.
All right. So, hey guys, thank you for covering for me there. I had to take a quick call. That also wouldn't be a normal stream if I wasn't taking a call. Are you still there, Rational?
Yeah. Still
Okay, cool. All right, guys. I'm going to end it now. I got to get in, but I appreciate it. And I'm going to be doing one tomorrow and the next day. And I'm going to have some things I want to cover. I have a little more structured stream I want to do tomorrow or on Thursday maybe. So, Chrissy, get Rational on your stream. Have you been on her stream yet, Rational?
No, not yet.
Okay. She wants to get you on there. That'll be a good one. And we need to get you on with Drone Tech too. So,
Yep.
All right, guys. Until next time, without fear of animals and or without fear or animus, I will talk to you guys when I do. Hang around 1 second, Rational. All right, guys. Later. Bye.
Catch you guys.